Okay colleagues, in this tutorial we're going to talk about the gauge readings and also the recording of the tensiometer. So before going in the field, you can see here this is provided by your tensiometers, and they also provide you some charts where you can do the recording. So your tensiometer comes with a chart like that, where you can actually plot down yourself what you have been doing, and I have been doing that over 2 weeks. And I had two tensiometers, so I recorded the days and what I was reading, and I gave 3 irrigations here. So you can see it is saturated, got dry, irrigated, and so on. So I'll come back to this curve. We'll go back in the field and see how the reading was done and how it evolved, and then we come back to this table. Okay, they have been in the ground now for 24 hours. But then this morning there was irrigation. But you see that's showing actually quite correct, because on the tensiometer, which is shallow, 15 centimeter, obviously there was irrigation, so it's showing wet there between 0 and 10, around 5. The tensiometer, and then here on the one which is much deeper, because this is micro irrigation, it's obviously much drier, so that's 10, so we didn't over irrigate. So we're gonna see what is it gonna show in the evening with no further irrigation. The second day, actually the third day, but there was some rain yesterday, we didn't measure that one. Interesting. The second one also comes down now because of the moisture in the soil, but it's changing much slower because it's deeper. And this one is still fine, though no irrigation needed on the 11-12. Now we are at day 3, and you can see we did not irrigate, so we are at 40 centibar, which normally would mean that you should irrigate. That is the last, because if you wait more you will get stress on the plants and then it will be too late and they won't recover. Now they are still more or less fine because it's early morning. And this is what we see here, because that's where our root zone is for the lettuce. And you can see there was a sharp increase from yesterday. It was around 30, it went up by 10 centibar. And that's quite a lot of, so when you have a big jump is when you see that the soil gets dry very quickly. Okay, I'm now, the first reading at 40 I took this morning, around 7. Now we are in the afternoon and it gets dangerously dry. And this is the time I don't want to let it more dry out because of my salad. So I switch on the irrigation now, and then it should go back to normal. Let's see how that will work. We extended the irrigation to 1 hour, and you can see we are back to the wet status here. It stays just 1 unit above 0. So the root zone is well wet now, and I take this recording now around a bit more than let's say an hour after the irrigation, the second irrigation. And but we didn't go over, so we didn't over irrigate because this one stays at 20, but this one is now where it should be, and it should be fine for 2 days again. So let's look at the chart where we recorded the readings on the gauge of the tensiometer. So down here on the horizontal line we have our days. We covered, I did the experiment in my garden for 10 days. And then here we have our centibars on the vertical column, and we normally work in the range of 0 to up to 50 maximum, depending on the type of soil you have. And then the readings can be plotted directly in the field. and the curves give a picture of the rapidly changing fluctuation of the soil moisture, so it's going up and down through the root zone in each section. So we have a tensiometer 1, that was a deeper one, slowly changing, and a shallow one, which is changing much faster. So that the rate of change is actually, the rate of change is the best indicator when to irrigate. You can see here it goes up slowly. So there was a first irrigation. The second day, my gardener didn't know I did the experiment, so he continued irrigating a bit until I told him to stop, and I irrigated myself. But you could see there is a slight change, but slow. So there is no panic, no need to irrigate anytime soon. But when it goes up very sharp, we talk about 10 to 15 centibars in a day, let's say here for example, then you need to immediately know that this is when the curve gets steep, irrigation is due anytime. And here it's much slower because it's a deeper, it was below the root zone actually. So you can see there's a water reservoir under, but the shallow part is what you always have to supply with water. So in my case I had 3 irrigations, and they were spaced by 4 days. If you take let's say this day as your first day, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, you irrigate again, and then again here we start irrigating on the 22nd, and you can see when the soil dries out and we irrigate, it goes quickly, the soil moisture increases, the tension, so the effort to take water out of the soil reduces, and normally you stop irrigating when you reach around 10, because it takes time for the water really to go to the tip of the tensiometer, and it will continue going down. When you're around 10, you discontinue the irrigation, and you look at the shallow one. You don't really look at the second tensiometer. That one you want it to be more or less stable around here. You don't want to make anything below 10 on the second tensiometer. And you can see the moment the irrigation is stopped, the next day it dries out first fast and then stabilized in this case. So there's no need to give any irrigation. If you see a flat horizontal curve, we are fine, because this is a normal process at the beginning. This is the ideal soil moisture anyway, and then it goes rapidly up. So you must be aware when it's around 20, the next one will be steeper, and then you irrigate again and the cycle will continue. So that is actually what the chart provides you. It gives you a complete record with I would say minimum efforts, and it's a very good record of what you have been doing in the field. It goes hand in hand also to check the dates when you put fertilizer. The trainer can actually control fertilizer was put here when there was irrigation. When it was put here, it's not yet competent. So, and that is where the portfolio of evidence comes in. And those graphs, like I said, I printed it out, plotted it in, did a small experiment, so it can be done quite easily. And I give the block number here, the months. Down here you can do the records. Of course, don't look what I'm writing here. I wrote down the type of sprinklers I use, because I use NumWater and I don't have a water meter there. So you would actually write here the cubic meter of water you would use. You have written it down from your app or from the water meter. Then the hours irrigated per block. Because remember, when you irrigate longer, the column of the water will go deeper, so it will be a deeper irrigation, and that means it will postpone then the days of the next irrigation. It will affect the delay the next irrigation, and also it will affect the readings on the tensiometer. The hours of irrigation is very important, also the water used. The depths will be the same, as long as you are on 1 tensiometer, it will be on 15 centimeter. That's the one we are looking at here. The other tensiometer was at 30 centimeter, which is the second tensiometer. So that's it for the tutorial part 2. I think you are now more capacitated how to look at those charts, and also to see the difference between the recordings of a shallow irrigation and a deep irrigation, and how you can control your water and all your inputs through the data you will have recorded on these charts. Thank you. See you on the next tutorial. I'll just talk a bit about the maintenance of the tensiometers, and then I think you will be ready to use them properly.